beautiful souls. I am so excited to dig into today's topic, which is about slowing down to speed up. Now, here's the thing here's the thing that I really want to highlight. We're speeding up. So a past version of me would have been like, I'm not slowing down for anything. I got stuff to do today. I got to knock stuff out. I'm overwhelmed. My to-do list, I got to do, right? All the stories would be coming in hot about why I, in particular, was not available to slow down. And I'm going to share with you why this actually is you speeding up. So often we are running and we're running and then we're sprinting and then we're pausing. But at the end of the day, we reach that destination and we realize, oh, this wasn't even the destination that I actually wanted. I've been running someone else's race. And so when we take a minute to say, am I on the right road? Am I even traveling in the right direction? Does it make sense for me to keep going in this direction? That moment of pause, the moment of quote unquote slowing down, is the thing that has us reroute, is the thing that has us get into deeper alignment with our deepest purpose for being here so that we can get to our actual destination faster. And so the reason that I'm sharing this is because I recently posted about how I was at an event and I was noticing that my energy was really coming to a low point. And a past version of me would have pushed through. It would have been like, no, you need to be social. You quote unquote should, you quote unquote need to, you quote unquote, all the stories, right? But I was like, I have no juice left in the tank. I have to take a minute to recharge my batteries. So I ended up going outside. I took my shoes off. I took my shoes off and I placed my bare feet on the earth. And then I just meditated. And it felt so good to be in the sun, to feel the heat on my skin, that I just stayed there and I meditated longer and longer and longer. And all of a sudden it was like 2 hours went by and I was like, wow, I feel like I've got a full tank again. And so what was really powerful was it was this all day event. And then we had a 2-hour break and then we were going to a mastermind dinner. So a past version of me would have been like, let's go where all the people are. Let's, give. But I knew that I wasn't going to be able to give in the way that I desired. So I recharged my batteries. So it's another example of slowing down to speed up, because by the time I got to that mastermind dinner, I was conversing with people. It felt so good to give into those spaces. I was on the microphone at one point asking, questions on behalf of my business and, just getting hot seat coaching. And had I not taken a minute to slow down, there's no way I would have shown up for myself and my business in that way. I wouldn't have gotten on the microphone to ask a question. I wouldn't have had any juice left or any brain power left to even think of a question. And I wouldn't have shown up for the people at my intimate table the way that I did. It was really beautiful because we got to connect about, life, about business, about all the things that we love to connect about in our mastermind. And so it was really, really powerful to take that minute to just slow down so that I could show up the way that I desired to, right? With both feet in, because I think so often we're doing the splits. We've got one leg in this and one leg in that. And then we've got a toe over here and a finger over there. And it's like we're so spread out. Our energy is so widespread that we're not able to give to the people that we desire most in the way that we desire to give to them, right? Like we're just giving them like a watered down version of ourselves that's tired and over caffeinated and overwhelmed and frazzled and not even there. Like our body's there, but we're not physically present. And so I wanted to share with you a couple ways that I slow down to speed up and that I start to really get into alignment, because the goal here is to take inspired action versus just taking action, right? I think so often, like I was saying, we're running the wrong race. Like we're just taking action. We're running down this street, right? We're running down 4th Street. And then it's like, uh-oh, my soul wanted to be on 12th Street. Uh-oh, my soul wanted to be on 3rd Street. You know what I mean? So it's like we were so close, but at the same time, we were going in the wrong direction, or we were simply on the wrong street. So we were doing the tasks that weren't actually in alignment with building our business the fastest way, right? The most in aligned way. Because when we're in alignment, things are like quantum speed coming to us, right? Like all of a sudden we're intuitively tapped in and we're like, I don't know why, but I think I need to go to this business event. It doesn't really make sense. for, the audience is real estate agents, but for some reason it's in Dallas, it's motivational speakers. I feel like I need to be there. You land in the room because your intuition told you to be there, and then you meet someone who changes your life, right? Who you begin partnering with, who's like, I want you on my podcast, and vice versa. This is an actual story that happened to me. Where I was like, I don't know why I would be in this room. It's a bunch of real estate executives. Like, why would I go to this event? But my intuition, because I slowed down and I let myself get into alignment, was like, you need to be in this room. So I went to the event and I met this incredible woman. And since then, I've been on her podcast. She's got a top 1% podcast worldwide. She's been on my podcast, which is now a top 10% podcast worldwide, right? And so it's like we're meant to slow down so that we can really fine tune, like, where will it best serve me to be and to do right now? Like, what makes most sense and what is most in alignment with my soul and what I came here to create? Because it's going to put you in rooms that are going to allow you to quantum leap. But if you don't pause to notice the sign that says, come in here, we're going to miss it. We're just going to keep jogging. We're going to be in overwhelm. We're going to be in, we're going to feel frazzled. Right. And so we're going to miss the big shining lights that are telling us actually reroute. This is a faster way there. This is a more exciting way there. This is more in alignment with your soul. This is going to light you up. Turn left, please. So I want to share with you a couple ways that I get into alignment with myself, a couple ways that I slow down to speed up. And one of the ways, like I had mentioned before, was meditation. I used to like say absolutely not to meditation. Like it felt like my thoughts were coming in way, way more, like just so much faster when I was meditating. So I had almost like an aversion to it because it was like my thoughts were just coming in hot. And so it was like, oh, why would I do this? Now I'm just more overwhelmed. It was one of those where it became this beautiful practice of actually welcoming my thoughts, where I was like, you know what? It's okay that you're here. I'm not going to make these thoughts the enemy, but I'm going to also release them. So as they come in and it's, oh, you forgot to do this, you need to do that. Okay, thank you. I'll definitely get to that. And I just kind of place it on a cloud or place it on a leaf. Maybe you see like a little stream moving. I find that when I do a guided meditation, it's a lot easier for me than when I'm doing completely blue skies, like nothing there, or I'm just listening to, or I'm not listening to anything, right? I find when I have music in the background or someone's guiding me through some breath work or someone's, guiding me to visualize something, like I usually will breathe in through my nose for 2 counts and exhale for 4 counts and say the words in my mind, let go as I do it. So I breathe in and I say let for 2 counts through the nose and I exhale out of the mouth for 4 counts and I say go. So it gives my mind something to focus on. So if you're like me, where sometimes when I get quiet, a lot of the thoughts start flooding in, find a different way to meditate and pause. So I absolutely love taking a minute to actually pause and say, okay, let me breathe in through my nose for 2 counts and exhale for 4 out of my mouth. Because 1, that's calming the vagus nerve, calming my body. 2, I'm allowing myself to give something to focus on. I'm allowing my thoughts to focus on something versus all the other things because I'm saying in my mind's eye, let go. Let go. Let go. And so what it's doing is it's bringing peace and calm and presence and groundedness into my body so that I don't miss the signs. Because when I'm present and I'm dropped in, I notice the signs. I notice the thing that's actually kind of like exciting me in the moment or the synchronicities that, I got the ping to reach out to this person and then they just friend requested me on Facebook. Right. And it's like, oh, okay, that's very synchronistic. Maybe I do need to reach out to her today for some reason. I don't know why yet, but it feels like it would be supportive for both of us. It feels like both of us are coming into alignment here. I'm going to follow that right now versus, no, I've got too much to do. I'll deal with that later. And then sometimes we miss that divine timing, that beautiful synchronistic window that would have been the quantum leap. So pausing to meditate and also for me, doing a meditation that gives me something to focus my energy on has been really supportive for me. So that was what I was doing for 2 hours, right? Like I was listening to music, I was listening to a guided meditation, and it just felt so good to just give myself something to focus on, to recharge my battery, to bring peace and calm and groundedness into me so that when I did show up for people at that dinner, I was very grounded and present. and I wasn't frazzled or giving from an empty tank. So that's a really powerful tool that I've used and that I've kind of, shifted it and made it work for me in the way that it works best for me. So if you're anything like me, that would be amazing. Get a guided meditation that will give your mind something to focus on. And they could be as short as 5 minutes, right? I think that's one thing that sometimes we think, oh, I have to have 2 hours. That's probably the first time in my life that I had meditated for 2 hours, right? Like, wow. But I really needed it that day. I'd been like over giving and just like feeling a little bit depleted from travel and all these other things. And so for me, it was one of those where it was like, I guess I just need it because I just kept leaning in because it felt so good. And you're going to notice that, like, wow, I feel so good. And now I'm really able to focus on the tasks that matter most versus the tasks that I, quote unquote, should be doing or not doing. Right. The other thing that I do is I channel. That's something that I learned how to do for a really long time. I thought, oh, that's just for the gifted. That's just for the people that, are tapped in and there's no way I can do that. It's a learned skill. Like we come in with it. We're very, very open and connected when we're first born. And then things happen in our life. We're told certain things that make us kind of shut it down. Oh, that's your imagination. That's not real. Shut that down, whatever it was. So it ends up having us shut that part of ourselves down if you were anything like me. And that's what happened to me. And since then, I've opened that back up. And it's important to do it in a way that you feel like you're opening and protecting your lines of communication. So I always set this intention to open up and protect my lines of communication with the divine, with all those that are of the highest vibration and for my highest good, allowing myself to receive those messages now. And so with my closed eyes, I'll actually get a piece of paper. This is called automatic writing. I'll get a piece of paper and I'll just wait and see if a name pops in my head or maybe a feeling comes through or maybe, the name Jesus comes through. Okay. If you have been loving this episode and this podcast, I want to gift you something. If you give us a 5-star review on Apple and or Spotify, you'll be entered to win a $150 gift card. Click the link below for the details. I am so grateful for you spending your most precious resource with us, your time. I hope that you've been receiving something so beautiful and magical from the space, from my soul to yours. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. I'm so grateful for you. Feeling comes through, or maybe, the name Jesus comes through. Okay. For the sake of playing the game, for the sake of you getting more and more in touch with your intuition, pretend like Jesus is actually there. Take all of the other thoughts off the table, but if the name Jesus pops in, let yourself say, "Hi, Jesus." And that's what I do. I just write that down. "Hi, Jesus." Right? And then I wait to see if I hear something back. And then if I hear something back, I write down what I hear. Or maybe I see something, or maybe I feel something, or maybe a word comes through. Whatever it is, I start to write it down and I start to have a conversation back and forth. And we're just going to say, even if it is my imagination, I'm going to let it roll, right? I'm just going to let it roll. And then I write down everything that I receive and I'll circle things that feel significant. Eyes are still closed. I'm just writing it down. It doesn't have to look pretty. And then afterwards, after I feel like I've gotten what I've needed to receive, I just say, "Thank you. Protecting my lines of communication now so that only that serves my highest good and must also be of the highest vibration can ever come into my awareness." So we're protecting that lines of communication because before we were opening it. Now we're going to say, okay, now protecting it. Before it was opening and protecting. Now we're just going to fully protect it. But we still want messages to be able to come through, right? So if our angels and guides are like, "Don't turn there," we don't want to be like shutting off all lines of communication with everyone. We don't want to do that. We want to be able to still be able to receive those messages, right? But we do want to make sure that's protected because we don't just want to receive messages from anything, right? Or any energy out there. We want to make sure that it's for our one, highest good, two, highest vibration, because sometimes we'll receive things for our highest good that don't feel good, right? It's like the lesson we need to learn through the hardship, right? Like the dang, okay, now I'm listening moment. You get hit in the face with a brick and you're like, okay, it was for my highest good, but did it have to happen that way? No, it doesn't have to happen that way. If we set the intention that let it be of the highest vibration too. Let me learn this lesson through love. Let me receive this message through a loving source, right? And then I go back through after I see what I've written and I start to notice the things that I circled. I'll read back through it and I'll notice all the things that feel significant and then I'll act on those. And it's really cool. It's very surprising because sometimes it's like, I'll read back through and I'm like, man, that definitely was not me because I would not have said do this, or I wouldn't have, my ego wasn't letting me connect to that actual message. And then when it came through, it was like, man, that is so true. I'm so grateful I took a minute to pause and ask questions. So asking certain questions can be really helpful too. Like if Jesus comes through, or, you set the intention, opening up and protecting my lines of communication with the divine, with all those that are of the highest vibration, allow me to receive the messages that are only of the highest vibration for my highest good. What messages do you have for me about where to focus my energy in business, or how to get a top 1% podcast, or how to make more money doing what I love, right? Or how to, whatever the questions are, you'll ask the question and then you'll just see if you receive information. Like Mary Magdalene comes in, right? Or Mother Mary or Mother Teresa or your highest self, right? God, source, whatever that is, don't make it wrong. That's the fastest way to shut your intuition down. And then what you'll notice is the more that you do it, the more you'll realize the messages you're receiving are accurate. And the more you honor it, the more you're like, wait a minute, wow, and start to take notice of that. What did I follow that actually worked for me? Or what did I not follow that maybe I wish I had followed then? Because now I'm doing it and I could have saved myself 6 months, right? Like I got this message 6 months ago and now I'm getting it again and now I'm actually following it and it's working. So it's starting to just take notice of the messages that are actually in alignment, the messages that are working for you. That's going to be really, really powerful. And also taking notice where you're like, okay, my intuition's saying this, like my gut is telling me to do this, but I feel like on paper I should do this. So you do that, right? Like you do the thing that looks good on paper, and then you realize, man, I wish I had done what my intuition had said, even though the other looked better on paper. Just take notice. Maybe you have an intuition journal where you're like, okay, I did this decision. I'll come back here next week. I'll let you know how it netted out, right? So just doing that can be really, really powerful. Another way of connecting in and slowing down to speed up. So we went over meditation, we went over channeling, and the next one is really connecting to your intuition, like we had just mentioned, keeping that intuition journal. So acting on the messages that you receive. But another way of doing that, of really connecting to your intuition, is sometimes what I'll do is I'll just simply flip a coin. Like I'll ask a question and then I'll flip the coin and then it'll land on something. So if I'm like, it's for my highest good, and the highest good of all those connected to me and of the highest vibration, I like to set both of those intentions, right? That I'm meant to go on this trip next week. Tails means no, heads means yes. Flip it, lands, heads. And I'm immediately, I really don't want to go on that trip though. Like I'm just so tired. I just don't want to do it. That's your answer. The coin is not your answer. Your guttural response to the coin is your answer. So if you flip it and you're like, oh, thank God I got tails. Oh, I just needed the permission to just not go. Okay, amazing. That's your answer too. Like if you're like, thank you, I just needed permission from a coin. Or if you're like, man, I wish it wasn't that answer. Your answer is what you feel about the answer. So that's a really powerful way to just start to connect to your intuition and to just grab a coin and see how you start to feel, right? So these are just some of the ways that you can start to connect to your intuition. Some people use pendulums, right? Where we can ask yes or no questions. But what I like to do if I'm using a pendulum is I like to make sure that I'm connected to what is an actual yes versus what is an actual no. So if I'm holding a pendulum, I'm going to say my name is Christina and I'm going to see how the pendulum's moving, right? So maybe it'll move in a circle. Okay, that means that in a circle, that means yes. Okay, I live in New York City. We'll see how the pendulum moves. For me, it moves back and forth. Okay, that means no. Amazing. Now I'm going to ask my question. And then we'll see if I get the yes or the no, right? Like pendulums are amazing. My pendulum told me I was pregnant before a test told me I was pregnant. I'm not pregnant right now, but I don't think, we'll find out together. But the last time that I was pregnant, my pendulum told me that I was pregnant before the actual test did, which was really wild. So allowing yourself to utilize these tools to connect with your intuition, especially in reference to business, is going to be so powerful because the way that you build your business is meant to be in alignment with your soul, right? We talked about this last week on the podcast. Getting in alignment with your soul is so imperative for you to really connect to what is my truth, what is my divine truth, and how can I actually make that happen in the fastest way that's in alignment with me, right? My soul. Because my yeses, my soul aligned yeses and nos will be different from other people's soul aligned yeses and nos. So I hope that this was supportive. I hope that you got something really powerful from this, exercises that you can utilize today, right now. This has been one of the biggest game changers in my business is slowing down to speed up because these are the quantum leaps. Like if I was just doing going, following the status quo, okay, I'm just running, right? Then I would not be where I am in business today because some of the most miracle moments that have helped me scale so quickly is from me connecting to my intuition and honoring what I received. And so this is your invitation to really connect to your intuition, to slow down, to get present, to fill yourself back up so that you can show up for your business and your people and your clients and your family and your partner and your friends the way that you desire to, right? So this is going to really support you in all areas of your life when we slow down to speed up. So I hope that this was supportive. I cannot wait to hear from you guys of what was most supportive. Feel free to take a screenshot. I would love to know your biggest takeaways from today. I love knowing from you guys, knowing what resonates most, because then I want to create more and more of that, which is why I did this podcast episode today, because so many people DM'd me that said, like, thank you for giving me the permission to slow down. I'm one of those people that always ends up pushing through. Like, this is what people were saying to me. Like, when I paused at that event, I took a minute to, or 2 hours, more than a minute. I took 2 hours to meditate and then I felt so refreshed, like I was able to show up. People were like, thank you. I needed to hear that today. I've been trying to push through. I've got all the shoulds in the back of my mind. None of that was really supporting me. So I'm just so grateful that that your post kind of gave me the permission to actually slow down to speed up. So I hope that this was supportive. Again, just that reminder, if you want to win $150, give us that 5-star review if it feels in alignment with your soul. If you've been absolutely loving this podcast, it is so supportive to one, hear from you. It's so amazing when I get those written reviews because every single one is different and I find out what's resonating with you. And it's just so nourishing and so much fun to hear from you. So if you give us a 5-star review on Apple or you give us that 5-star review on Spotify and you submit and you tell me that you did. So you'll just click the link in the show notes. It'll give you all the next steps on how to do that. You will be entered to win a $150 gift card. And it is my deepest honor to give back into the community in any way that I can. So I got the intuitive thing to create this. And so I did. So I can't wait to see who wins it. This could 1000% be you. So give yourself that opportunity to play, to say like, what would I do with $150? Like 150 extra dollars sounds kind of nice. Why don't I take a minute to slow down to speed up? So I'm sending you so much light and love. I cannot wait to see who wins this $150. It absolutely gets to be you and it can be you. So just believe in that, lean into the spaciousness of it gets to and it can be. And oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that I did just win it. Like lean into the manifestation energy of I'm so grateful that I did win it. That feels so good. Wow, amazing. Lean into that energy. Okay, I'm sending you so much light and love, and I will talk to you soon.